It's one thing to be exposed for making fake content. That's not exactly anything new, and it's something that influencers get called out for all the time. But what about the content creators who go beyond that? What about the people who build an entire career out of being fake? Well, Chester and Parker from Luxury Pranks probably know the answer to that better than anyone else. It's kind of become their entire brand. What's up, my plugs? Ooh, we're workshopping that. We will come up with something better. I'm here to take you on a deep dive into the fake world of luxury pranks. Now, we've got a couple of things to get through, so let me start off with the most obvious. They're to catch a predator style videos. It might have only lasted for 3 seasons, but the impact that To Catch a Predator had on, well, everybody, seems like it just might be eternal. No, I'm serious! This show was canceled in 2007, but people are still drawing on it for inspiration. But where most copycat channels that make the same kind of content seem to be genuinely interested in, catching weirdos and getting justice, the same cannot be said for the guys at Luxury Pranks. In fact, Chester and Parker have been called out a number of times over the years for the way that they handled this kind of content, mainly for the way that they went out of their way to protect the supposed predators they were catching. I mean, if they were being serious about it, there's no way they blur the faces of the perpetrators, right? There's no way they disguise the voices of these people so no one could know who they really were. There's just no way they would let them go at the end of every video. This isn't a fishing channel where you just catch and release. You've got to call the cops, you guys. No, these videos were all just for the views. Not that it stopped them from being total creeps about it, though, by including real-life cases at the start of their videos. It just feels so exploitative, like they were preying on the sympathy of their audience and using it to their advantage. And before any of you guys try to at me, I know that they start the majority of their videos off with a disclaimer saying that they're only doing this for entertainment, and that's a good disclaimer to have. It's important to be honest and upfront with your audience when you're making this kind of content. However, those disclaimers are only on screen for like 2 seconds at most. No one's gonna pause to read that. Plus, the majority of Chester and Parker's audience was made up of kids. Whether that's the audience they were aiming for or not doesn't really matter. It's the audience they had. Young, impressionable kids that were going to eat up whatever content they put out, which meant that having a written warning at the start of their videos wasn't really going to do a whole lot. At the very least, they could have had a voiceover reading out their disclaimer, not only because it would give them an extra buffer against any potential criticism, but also because YouTube is a global website. Anybody can access it. There are going to be people out there who watch their videos and couldn't actually read the disclaimer saying it was for entertainment. Now, obviously, if you make fake content on the internet, people are going to call you out on it. And that was no different for these guys. People called them out for their fake videos all the time and would constantly question the validity of what they were doing. So, in November of 2018, Parker agreed to do an interview with Leon Lush to essentially deny the rumors, which is interesting, seeing as Parker himself has since admitted to police that all of those videos were fake. To be 100% honest with you guys, the entire interview is just a mess. Parker constantly dodges questions, pretends like his phone is losing signal when he wants to avoid something, and just completely fails to take responsibility. I think this comment from Nathan sums it up pretty well. I lost brain cells listening to Parker. There's even a moment in the interview where Leon questions whether someone is in the background coaching Parker on what to say. And he's not the only one who noticed that either. Someone in the comments points out the same thing, saying, right before he says, I have a lot of background in the legal industry, it sounds like someone said that same sentence in the background. And well, you guys can decide for yourselves. Just listen to this.
Okay, well, I don't know about you. You had the proof. I mean, you had him on camera, but that seems like a weird...
I'm not a judge, dude.
Okay, pause for just a second and listen back to that closely.
Whether you believe him or not, you've got to admit that it's not a good look. Anyway, let's just go back to the fact that the majority of their audience were kids for a second, okay? Keep that in mind for what I'm about to say. Chester and Parker ran a website where they would charge their audience $5 to submit a report for them to go and investigate. These guys ran a website that charged their young audience money. Young kids who definitely don't have money of their own, but who won't think twice about using their parents' credit card. Y'all, I think we can agree that at this point that your stance on the debate about parents monitoring the content their kids interact with doesn't really matter here. If you're asking your audience to give you money so you can continue making content for them, then some of the responsibility is on you to make sure you're not ripping people off. Kids aren't necessarily going to think about the cost of this stuff. $5 might not sound like a whole ton of money, but to some of us, it's the difference between being able to eat dinner or not. Also, maybe this is just me, but it seems really shady that they were giving out disclaimers about their videos being for entertainment, but then still asking people to pay for reports? I'm getting pretty mixed signals here, fellas. Are your stories fake and done purely for entertainment, or are they legit and you want people to help you? Because it can't be both, so which one is it? Oh, and why are you asking people to send the reports to you instead of, oh, I don't know, the police? As Xavier Brown says, I think the worst bit is telling viewers to send $5 to investigate people. They should encourage kids to tell the police, not send them money to do it. Sorry guys, but if you thought that was the end of all those weird money-related issues, then I have some really bad news for you, because we're just getting started. See, Chester and Parker didn't just run one really shady website asking for money. Oh, no. One scam would be way too easy for these guys. They needed to find a way of running multiple scams at the same time. And gosh, by golly, they did it. Do you guys remember just how much trouble Gabby Hanna got herself into when she started promoting Kenza Cosmetics? People still hate her for it to this day. I mean, for good reason, she's done a lot of crap over the years, but still, double standards much? You know, maybe the internet should have held on to some of that hatred and saved it for luxury pranks. They were doing the exact same thing as Gabby Hanna, but they took it one step further because they actually own the website. Yeah! You heard that right. These guys owned a website that promoted all of the stupid items that were listed for free, and all their followers had to do was pay shipping costs. When are these people going to learn that having to pay money in exchange for something isn't free? And that's not even mentioning some of their sponsors. You run a channel primarily watched by kids and teenagers, and you think it's okay to accept a sponsorship from an essay writing website? You think it's okay to encourage people to pay others to write their essays for them? I don't know if you guys realize this, but accusations of plagiarism are actually super serious. You get caught plagiarizing and you can get kicked out of school. Colleges will straight up blacklist you. This isn't the kind of shit you should be selling to your audience. It's just unbelievably irresponsible. And look, I know that a lot of this video has been focused on just how young their audience is. It's not something I wanted to come back to, but it plays such a huge part in, well, everything, to be honest. It is really hard to talk about them without mentioning how young their audience really is. Maybe I would have been able to look past one of those things and chalked it up to a coincidence. People make mistakes after all. But these guys did more than just one thing. Over the years, they have done multiple things that have directly impacted their audience. And that would be fine if their audience wasn't primarily made up of young kids who don't necessarily realize just how fake it all is. They were out here running scam websites, knowing that their audience would blindly trust them to follow through on their promises. And it only became even more disgusting when YouTube demonetized their channel and they moved on to Luxury Dark and Luxury Light. Sure, the content is pretty scarce and you can go months between uploads, but what's actually changed? They're making the exact same videos as they were on their old channel, except these ones can be monetized and used for profit. How long will it be before they start asking their fans for money again? What do you guys think? Do you think they'll change their ways, or will they carry on using the same old tricks? Did you ever fall for one of their scams? Is there anyone else out there who's just as guilty as they are for making fake videos? Let us know in the comments below. Oh, and I don't know if I want to call you guys plugs, so why don't you tell me in the comments what I should call you?